book makes me want food so badly. Hey, thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Lizzie Sawyer.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today, we are returning to San Francisco, California, United States. Published April 1st. Fun fact, I thought that was a fun published date. April 1st, 2025. Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man is the second installment in the Vera Wong series. Things are happy, if boring, in Vera's life now, and she wishes for another murder investigation. When her wish is granted, though, she finds herself in more danger than ever. Has she bitten off more than she can chew? Or can she save not just her own life, but everyone's around her? So background on this, we're Jessie Q Sutanto fans. I think that's still safe to say, even though we were disappointed with some of her books, but loved the first book. I really loved it. I think you really liked it too.
Yes.
Vera is amazing. I would love her in my life.
Absolutely.
So, very excited for this. Was worried because, we both really love Dial A for Aunties, and we were just not about the second or third book, honestly, in that series. And so I was a little worried.
I wanted to like them so bad.
Yeah. When compared to the first one.
Not good, yeah.
But I actually think this one did a pretty good job keeping the standard of the first one. It's much darker. Granted, there was some dark stuff in the first one, but it was, I don't know, it was spousal abuse versus human trafficking.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit ironic. In the second book for Aunties, they introduce a fake gang and then a real gang in the third one. And so she was like, nah, second one, real gang, real people. But I wanted to look a little bit more into Jessie's background because we read a lot of her books. But I still learned some really interesting things about her. She is Chinese Indonesian. She grew up back and forth between Jakarta and Singapore, which definitely explains why book 3 it felt very, very grounded in Jakarta. It was like I felt like I was actually there. She currently lives in Indonesia.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought for some reason, and granted, American, so of course I automatically are like, oh, she lives in like California or something. But yeah, she lives in Indonesia currently, which good for her. It sounds like she's enjoying herself. But she did go to California. So the reason she writes some books in it is she went to UC Berkeley for English Lit in 2006. And then she went to Oxford for a master's in creative writing in 2009. But she published her first book in 2021. And so I'm a little curious about that gap. What did we do for 12 years? In between here. I couldn't find it right on her website, but I'm sure it's somewhere. But yeah, UC Berkeley and Oxford, just casual. Your casual creative writing degrees. So chill. But yeah, it made a lot of sense why the first Aunties book was in California and the second one was near Oxford and the third one was in Jakarta. This woman is well traveled. But fun facts, Dial A for Aunties still has their movie rights with Netflix. So still don't know what's going on with that.
It'll either be good or it'll be bad.
If it's ever published, period, or made.
Yeah, that goes under the bad. It'll either be good or it'll be bad.
But I have good news for this series, most likely. I hope so. One of them has a very, very big stain on their record now. But guess who got the TV show rights? So it's a TV show, not even like a movie.
Who?
Mindy Kaling, which, like I said, Velma is kind of a dark stain on forever. But it's a co-thing with her and Oprah. So I'm really hopeful. There have definitely been shows that Mindy has produced that are very good, just not Velma. So I'm hoping this goes under her very good, and with Oprah money and guidance, I am very hopeful. So yeah, we might have a TV show for Vera Wong.
It deserves a TV show.
I think it would be really good. But we mentioned it a little bit. Age level adult. It has a cute little lady on the cover. The UK cover's better because it has a really pretty teapot. We'll get to that. But adult, especially chapter, I think, 24, when the letter is written, we have a content warning of language, murder, abuse of control, child abuse, physical, verbal, mental, emotional, kidnapping, human trafficking, torture, sex slavery implied very heavily, blood, graphic violence, and needles. I feel like she raised the stakes a little bit in this one.
Just a smidge.
Just a little bit. So, fun fact, judge a book by its cover, but I want to tell a funny story. When this book was announced, I got very excited, and I was like, I need to learn everything about this that I possibly can. So I was going to buy the book. I pre-ordered it and I knew that, but I really wanted to look up anything I could, like I said. So I looked it up on Libby. And I don't know when it was fixed. So you know how the cover is the title of the book?
Yeah.
Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man, right?
Yeah.
That was the cover for the Kindle edition. For whatever reason, and so many steps had to be taken for this mistake to have been made, the audiobook had the title Vera Wong's Guide to Dating a Dead Man.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I have so many questions. So many things had to go wrong for that to have happened. They fixed it, but it did make me worry. I was like, is she gonna go undercover and pretend to be this dead dude's girlfriend? And that's why they maybe originally had this idea, and then they were like, nah, too far. But then I read the book, and then I was like, why? Why did that ever happen? Oh, goodness. But you can't really tell much from the cover. It's Vera. She's snooping. There's a dead person. Surprise. The cover's red instead of purple. She's looking around a corner instead of through blinds. I don't know. The cover isn't really given much, but it's fine. We still like it. Have you seen the UK cover?
I have not.
It's so pretty, and I kind of wish that I could very conveniently get it. I prefer it to the American cover, and that's always a rare day.
Oh, I like the blood under the teapot. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, and then the steam is a skull, and they also add up in the upper right corner, sometimes all an old lady wants is a murder to solve, and I love that.
It's very good.
The first book's UK cover has a teacup with a skull in it, and it says, solving a mystery isn't everyone's cup of tea, which feels a little safe for me, so I like the second one better. But yeah, I like the cover art for both of those way better.
It looks like the first one, the artist that they're using for this was getting the vibe.
Yeah, and then I feel like they really managed it on the second. It's just got really good cozy mystery vibes, I think. Also, and I just noticed they changed her hair from gray to white from the first cover to the second cover.
She's getting older. She said it a couple of times, but she's like 60-something.
61. Vera's actually very virile. She acts a game.
Yeah.
She pretends, and the book calls her out for it, where she wants people to act like she's an old lady, but not treat her like an old lady.
You can't have both.
She wants it, though. So this time around, I was really curious. We had the little found family in the first book, and I was wondering, it's like, okay, so is it a same adventure with the same found family? You know, like how a lot of cozy mysteries do it, where it's like you have your core people and then you build upon it. I was like, or is she going to completely get a different one? And the answer is both.
Yeah, it's both.
But mainly she gets a different one with cameos of the old ones, which I'm okay with. If Vera just wants to adopt a new family every book, I'd be okay with that.
I think she'd be okay with that, too.
I think she would be. Sunday dinners would get really, really crowded. She's going to need other day dinners. But yeah, Winifred plays more of a role in this book, and I'm kind of for it.
It sounds like she's going to play a role in the next book, too, which will be fun.
Yeah, because with the first book, the author didn't know if she was going to get a second book, but I get a feeling by the way this one ended, she's pretty sure she's getting a third book.
I'm sure she'd write it even if she didn't. She seems to really like this character and this cast of people.
Oh, yeah. So also Tilly and Selena got together, and I think that's very interesting. I also kind of like that the first chapter ends with, it will be the beginning of an amazing chapter in her life. Cute. We know we're a book. But yeah, everything's going great. She has her family. She loves that. They have Sunday dinners, and she has all this love around her and support and things to look forward to. And so things are a lot better, except Vera's a little bored. Things are going too well. And so she's immediately like, I wish I had a murder to solve. Not that I'm wishing murder into the universe, but I mean, if it just so happens. But our story kind of begins with a credit card scam. It doesn't. I immediately was like, oh no, this is sus. Someone calls her and says, hey, this is your bank. Someone tried to use your credit card for a $4,000 purchase at Target. I'm going to transfer you to the police immediately to answer some strange questions, like all of your information, and please send me a picture of your credit card, and also what's your social, and this, that, and the other thing. Oh dear. Yeah, it's a scam. She gets scammed. She realizes that the email for the cop doesn't exist and tries to call the phone number, and it's discontinued. So she calls Selena, they get it straight, and this is honestly just a way to get her to the police station. It kind of plays later because she's like, I hate scammers now. And that kind of comes up, but not really. Like I said, it's just kind of an excuse to get to the police station because the important thing is she runs into a random person.
It's also a foreshadowing tactic.
Yes. So she runs into Millie, whose friend has been missing for several days, and Millie doesn't want to report it to the police. She's acting like she's going to, and then she doesn't, which automatically Vera's like, this gives me a license to snoop. And so while she is feeding their cat, Selena and Tilly's cat, they live together, Vera goes through Selena's briefcase and learns about a John Doe being found, and unfortunately, it is Millie's friend.
Vera spends this whole chapter being like, his name's Thomas, why are they calling him John?
Yes, she learns what a John Doe is eventually, but that's the name Millie calls him because the police don't know that name currently because he has a social media called Xanda Panda, which he says his name is Xander Lynn. So Vera's the only one at this point that knows he went by Thomas, at least with Millie. So she starts investigating him. She's like, okay, I have my murder. It has come to me. Hooray. So we have a new cast here. So we had Millie, who is friends with him and seems to have some strange dealings going on. She's very easily frightened. She just seems very, very scared. We don't know too much about her yet. Then we have a dude named TJ Vasquez, who owns a talent management company, and the talent they manage is social media influencers. And TJ was, I guess we can just call him Xander for all intents and purposes, Xander's talent manager. And like the last book, all of the suspects think they did it because the police are ruling it as suicide. And so it's less they think that they killed him, but more like they think they pushed him over the edge. And so TJ has a secret. Well, he has two secrets that we learn about. One is related to Xander, and the other is why his business is strangely failing. Well, suddenly failing. It's not strangely. Which you come to find out, he has a daughter. She's very passionate. She's a teenager. So she has a lot of passionate energy and is not sure how to wield it. And this random influencer was mean in an email to her dad. And so she emailed him back, super rude email. The influencer took that email and posted it online. And now no one wants to touch TJ's company with a 10-foot pole. Which sucks, because he kind of has like a little found family as well. He's got a collection of 3 employees he thinks about a lot. Okay. Ames? Ames? Okay. Ames was Xander's girlfriend, and you come to find out fake girlfriend. They were just faking it for the content. Blonde hair, green-eyed, even though Millie says she has gray eyes at one point, it's beside the point. Small continuity issue.
But we can pretend that it's because green eyes change color.
Yeah, it's totally the thing, guys, promise. And then the fourth one we have, fourth suspect, is Kwang Win Lee. He owns a dim sum place, and Xander would post content and claim that he was Xander's grandfather, but he's not. So those are our 4 suspects. And the way Vera just introduces herself, they keep thinking she's this big bad cop or like PI.
They're like, she knows.
Vera has business cards? Can we talk about that? I love that so much, but Vera, when did you get business cards? You need a license. I think she gets a license at the end of this. Love it so much, though. That's one trope in Cozy Mysteries. I love when the amateur detective gets business cards. It just fills me with such joy. But yeah, so those are our 4 suspects. And then we have some of the old cast coming in and out and stuff. But like I said, my favorite thing about this book that was added was Winifred is more of a character. Because in the last book, it's like, oh, she runs a bakery, and we at each other. And it was a French bakery, but apparently Korean bakeries are popular now. And so she's rebranded all of her stuff to be Korean. And apparently she does actually have some Korean stuff, because last time around, they were French, but Vera claimed they were actually Chinese, just given French names. But yeah, Winifred hangs out. She's not her right-hand man, but she's in it a lot more. And their bickering is kind of adorable, because Winifred's child had children, so now she has twin grandbabies, and they go back and forth about that constantly, and it was very cute. But yeah, Vera wants to be a detective, and so she invites all the suspects to dinner, which is pretty classic detective move of her. But can we talk about how Oliver is apparently single?
Yeah, why? Was he dating someone in the last book?
I thought he and Julia were gonna get together, but honestly, good for him.
No, they're amicable, but they made it clear they didn't see each other like that.
Good for him. This plays a big part because Vera thinks he should totally date Millie, and so Millie goes on a bunch of dates with him, and she She thinks he's into her, and then he's like, oh no, I'm just stupid, and I thought all of this was friend stuff, not date stuff, which makes Millie upset. There's 2 reasons for that. 1, because she gets in trouble for wasting her time with him, and 2, because she thought he had feelings for her. But yeah, that's a whole plot line. So we get a lot of Oliver, which I'm pretty happy about. But yeah, Millie just has little hints throughout this book that something's off. This was around the point she mentions in her narration, not in her dialogue, that there's somebody at home called Mother, like a capital M. And it's hinted at that she dates men probably for money. This was the part where I was like, I'm worried. That sounds like human trafficking to me because she's being human trafficked. Trafficked?
Yeah, trafficked.
Let me get the verb right. But I didn't know how they were gonna one-up last book with anything. They make Vera a TikTok sensation, and I love it. Ames takes a video of Vera making tea. She does some editing and stuff, and eventually Robin will also do it, and Winifred does it once, and anyway, everyone's filming her and editing, and Vera does these true crime, she's investigating voiceovers, and honestly, I think that would work.
Yeah, I would watch it.
I mean, an adorable old woman making tea from scratch, and they say it looks very peaceful, and then having this, I know that Xander is not his real name, and he was faking his entire life, and I will search into this. That is genius. It's like Fourth Aunt from the Dial A for Auntie series. Of course she's a TikTok star. Of course. Why didn't I see that sooner? I love it. And then after one post going viral, she goes to TJ and she's like, you should be my agent, which is very convenient because this is when Robin calls her dad and she's like, hey, I'm getting suspended. And Vera's like, I'm coming.
I'll fix it.
I'm here. They're Hispanic, and she is very obviously Asian, and so I just love that. She just walks in because the principal's like, oh, this is only a matter between family, and Vera's like, I'm her grandmother.
Vera made some very good points in that conversation. She's like, why do we have staff that's staring at this child's boobs? What is that about?
Yes, because the reason she's getting a suspension is she was told to start wearing a bra, and then she didn't.
Because she doesn't want her dad to buy her a bra because that's awkward.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have a mom.
But yeah, Vera makes a great point. She's like, if you really cared about education, you wouldn't be suspending her for 3 days over something we could solve in an afternoon. If we get her a bra and she comes back, she should be allowed to come back. And so Vera makes really good points. And honestly, so many thoughts about that. And so good for Vera for pushing back. We all need a Vera. So yeah, like you said, she feels awkward about it. So Vera helps her buy some training bras and stuff, and Robin helps with the second video, and it's just, that's what we were missing. We were missing a teenage girl to look for maternal.
I'm not sure the ages of the people. Like, I don't remember TJ's age and I don't remember Julia's age, but that could work.
Yeah, neither of them are given an age, TJ or Robin. You just know Robin is a teenager, and if she's just now dealing with bra issues, she's probably like early teens.
Oh no, Robin's 13. They say that at the meeting with the principal. Because Vera's like, how old are you? And she's like 13. She's like, she's 13. Why are you looking at her boobs?
Yeah, she made some really good points, honestly. So glad she was there, because TJ was gonna just kind of fold, and then it was never gonna be solved. So she goes to Kwong Wen's restaurant to bother him, because she's obviously bothering all her suspects. There's a line, though. I don't remember the exact context now, but the line is basically, it's, why would anyone not want to catch Vera virus? And I'm like, there's your marketing blurb. Put that on everything. Why would anyone not want to catch Vera virus? I loved that. It's just perfect. Printed on shirts. But yeah, it kind of bothers him a bit, and he decides to change tactics because he was acting like he didn't know anything, and so now he's acting like, oh, I'm totally going to help you. Which, Vera being a TikTok star, manages to get an invite to a party, gets to talk to people, a bunch of other influencer stuff. I hope they keep that going in the next book. I really hope that's not a dropped subplot. I liked Vera hanging out with a bunch of basically 18-year-olds. She literally walked in, she completely took over everything, and she's shy at first. It's not her normal place, but she really gets into it. She could solve the world's problem in an afternoon, I'm pretty sure. And then then she would make them dinner and it would just all be better. So in the last book, she vandalized her own store to get the police's attention on it, even though anyway, we talked about it in that episode. But this time around, she gets to her shop and in big red paint on her sign, her wooden sign, so that really sucks, is "I see you," which causes Millie, who's with her at the moment, to immediately run off. I worried for her this entire book. Millie, you're not in a good situation. I don't even think I was prepared, though.
For how bad it was?
For all of it, but I was worried about her. So at this point, Ames comes clean. He's not my real boyfriend. We were just doing it online. And she reveals the night before he died, they had a really big fight because he wanted to reveal this big secret. But to do that, he felt like he needed to reveal all of his secrets, including their fake relationship. But Ames refused to do that because she is an influencer. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. She's an influencer, and basically her entire brand was built around these couple content videos. And so if she said, oh, we were never dating, that would completely wreck her career as an influencer and ruin the trust between her and her followers. So that was her thing. And that's the pattern for the rest of them. To find out with TJ, he was like, hey, I created all this content about how good a manager you are and how close our relationship is and how we're talking constantly, but that's not true. And I feel like I should reveal myself. And TJ was worried, that's the last nail in my coffin about this. And so he didn't want to reveal the truth. And he goes to Kwai-Wan and says, hey, I want to reveal that you're not my grandfather. He didn't really, like the other two, finding out that his grandfather wasn't going to be make or break for his career. But what ended up happening was he started ranting about how he was preying on people and scammers. And so Kwang Wen got scared. What have I invited to my house? Who is this person? Oh my gosh, he's involved in shady stuff. He needs to leave. And so he kicks him out. And so that's why all three of them feel really, really guilty. And they think they're the ones that pushed him over the edge. But Vera has suspected for a very long time. This was not suicide, though. His death has to do with Millie. Millie knew what happened the entire time, but she was very scared because abusive control. It's rough. Let's just say it like that. Millie is the daughter of impoverished Chinese farmers. Millie wanted to make it big in the entertainment industry, goes to a city to do that, where she meets a quote-unquote agent who says, hey, I'm going to take you and a bunch of kids to America where you can make it big and send money back to your parents, and it's going to be great. You're going to be famous. Except they're trafficked there, they're putting in shipping containers, and then they're taken to a place where they're very abused emotionally, mentally, physically. They're tortured at random times and basically are used to scam people, phone scams, email scams. She eventually gets involved with dating scams where she'll date a very affluent person and then somewhere along the dating be like, oh no, I don't have money for my tuition, or this big medical bill came up, or this, that, and the other thing. And so basically scams men out of their money through dating them. And chapter 24, I'm pretty sure is 24. It's either 24 or 26, but I'm pretty sure it's 24, is a letter she writes to Vera thinking she's not going to make it because the people who are in charge have locked her in her room and she's pretty sure she's going to die there. And she writes a letter to Vera, not expecting it ever to get there, but it goes into some pretty graphic detail about what happens. And so it is rough. I was not expecting how realistic nor graphic it was. This is very clearly a cause near and dear to the author's heart.
As it should be. It's awful.
Oh, yeah. This is a cause she cares a lot about, which makes sense. There's a lot of people who talk about that. Yeonmi Park, who is a North Korean defector and a huge, huge voice for people suffering under the North Korean regime, in her autobiography also talks about human trafficking in China and the things that she and her sister and her mother went through after getting out of North Korea and then going through China and all this stuff. So yeah, it's a problem. It's a really big problem. And this book does a really good job of explaining how they get there and why they stay. Here it's like, oh, if you tell anyone about us, you're a scammer. You're going to go to jail and it's going to be worse for you. Whatever they do to us, it's worse for you because you did it.
Yeah, and they're from other countries, so they don't know how the justice system in the US works. And yeah, and they know they're illegally there. And so they're, of course, going to feel they're going to be in more trouble and nothing will happen.
Yeah, and so they just really prey upon these vulnerable people. And author doesn't hold back. I can't stress that enough. Does not hold punches. Just shows legitimate evil. Legitimate, vile, horrible, evil people that do this. And I was not expecting that in my cozy mystery. Is it considered a cozy mystery anymore? I don't think I've ever read a cozy mystery that handles such a big topic. But we're very lucky to have a happy ending in that Vera and the team, both of her found families, come together to figure out where Millie is, and they piece together what is happening to her. And so they're able to get the police there, and they were able to raid the place and to save Millie, who's actually Pinsy. Okay, yeah, XI is pronounced C, like I see something. Okay. Her actual name is Pinsy. They gave her the name Millie because it sounds more American. They made her learn the American standard accent and all that. But her name is Pinsy, and she's able to reclaim that for herself at the end of the book. And I think that was pretty powerful.
Yeah, it felt pretty powerful.
Yeah, because this entire book, she's like, I'm Millie, my name is Millie, my name is Millie, my name is Millie. And then the end, she's like, no. She's able to buck the system that was oppressing her. And she's like, my name's Pinsy. And I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, then after going through that letter, they tortured that name into you.
Literally waterboarding and starvation and physical abuse. And it's a hard chapter. But I don't know. At the same time, I'm kind of glad it is in like a cozy mystery, and maybe more people will become aware of it and will be able to inform themselves and maybe look at resources to find it, like what signs to look for and stuff, and maybe get involved. So that's the other part of it. It's like I don't want anyone's mental health to be wrecked, but at the same time, I hope this brings awareness to a really important subject.
You could probably skip Millie's letter and not miss anything that would hurt the story.
No, yeah. If you are struggling, just skip 24, come back to it later when you're able to.
It's whichever one is still, each chapter is read by a different character in the book. And so it's one of Millie's chapters. And as soon as she's like, and then I started writing this letter, skip that chapter.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the letter is in italics too.
Yeah.
And it's just a really nice thing at the end. Addie, who's the little brother of the character from last book, and Robin, who is the teenager we've been talking about this book, are able to find her real parents, including their phone number. So Pinsy is able to call her parents. And I'm not gonna lie, the onion ninjas hit me a little bit there. I was so happy for her that she was able to do that, because she thinks about them all of the time.
Yeah, and they came to the US at the end because they're eating dinner with everybody.
Yes, and it was just, I was so happy. Also, very heavy subject, but can we talk about how Vera is just like, so I'm going to the raid, right? And Selena's like, no, you're not going. And so she forces, not Selena, but other people to take her to the raid. And I think it's Tilly is in the car too. And Tilly is like, we are not leaving this car.
And there's a bit where they have to actually bodily hold her down.
And be like, Vera, stop. She's getting in there. I was right. That's right. Epilogue. Vera gets a new sign saying she's a certified PI.
Yep.
I love that for her. How many cozy mysteries have I read where the cops are like, hey, you're not a cop, stop doing this. And they're like, cool, I'm just going to keep doing it, when there's a legal route to be able to snoop. Certified PI. I love that for her. Pinsy's parents come to the US. They're able to reunite with their daughter. Vera's popularity has given TJ clients again and saved his business. Ames is taking a social media break, which she very much needed.
She very much needs that.
And she's trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life.
Same.
Apparently she was an English major. And these lots of events have given her some passions. And so my immediate thought was, law schools love English majors.
Do they really?
They love English majors. You have to write so much as a lawyer. so much. Having a lawyer who can actually read and write, like can read something critically and then write comprehensively, huge skill, super important. And depending on what type of law you go into, there is corners of the law where you're hardly ever in court and all you do is write. So if you're going to be in the courtroom, definitely having a background with speech and debate. But even then, you're still writing briefs and filing things and reading what other people write before you're in the courtroom and after in the courtroom and all this stuff. So yes, law schools love English majors. Fun fact, if you're ever like, I've got an English major and I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I think I am a law nerd and want to do law stuff, love. So I think she should be a lawyer, but that's just me. And yeah, like you said, the book ends with Winifred and Vera planning a trip to Paris? Random, but we love it. So, are we going to Paris?
I hope so. That sounds fun.
That sounds like a fun time.
Especially with Winifred involved. Maybe she can pick up some actual Paris pastries for her Paris cafe.
Oh, it's Korean now, though. But yes, if at one point Vera's not like, this is an actual French bakery, waste.
And Winifred will just be like, it's a Korean bakery now.
The parts that I actually really liked from the second book of Dial A for Aunties was the culture confusion, where they got the fascinators, the really over-the-top fascinators, and they tried to learn British slang and all of those. I thought all of those were really good. So I'm excited for if that happens this time around, because I can see Winifred and Vera trying very hard, but Parisians especially are very snobbish about their culture. But yeah, I agree with you. Paris, that's a fun. Has she been to Paris recently?
That is an excellent question.
But I think this book has proven that Vera and Winifred would be amazing frenemies. Love it. It's a little bit of the aunties. It's fourth aunt and ma. Very excited. General thoughts for this. I was really worried getting the book because one thing that we noticed in between Dial A for Aunties and then the second book, Four Aunties and a Wedding, and the third book, The Good, the Bad, and the Aunties, is that the wording on the page, the font size got bigger and the spacing between lines got bigger. And so it was the same amount of pages theoretically, but the story kept getting shorter, which I think is a massive disservice to both of those stories, but publishing deadlines. So I was worried. Obviously, I was worried because quality, but I was also worried about that. No, it's pretty on point for both books. It is tiny font and a lot of font on a page. So please keep that up, please. If I open the third book and there's spacing, I'm going to worry. That being said, her publishing schedule is ridiculous. She publishes 3 or 4 books a year across several series. She has, the Aunties, Vera Wong. She has a number of standalone suspense books. She has several standalone romance books now. She has a children's, or I guess mid-lit series as well. And every time I turn around, she's published a new book. She's now picked up work with Disney.
Oh.
And she just recently published the 4th book in the Meant to Be series, which is taking the Disney princesses and putting them in a modern day contemporary style.
Oh, that's fun.
And so the 4th one is about Mulan and Shang in a modern day setting. And so that was by her. So the publishing schedule is literally insane. I worry about her sometimes. And you can tell on the editing. This book could have used a couple more rounds. There's typos and missing punctuations and continuity errors throughout.
Listening to the audiobook, I noticed none of that.
Which, did they get the same voice actor?
Yes, they did.
Yay. I love when it's the same for the series.
Yeah, it's the same voice actor that read Dial A for Aunties, those 3 books.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, she's amazing. Her name is, Eunice Wong.
And from what you said, she does a phenomenal job.
I think I said that for the first name correct. It's Eunice.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
It's not really in this series, but that anti-series, there was a lot of switching between Chinese and Indonesian, and you said that she did a phenomenal job with those, so.
Oh, she did a phenomenal job. And she does a really good Vera Wong voice.
We love a talented queen. I'm going to eventually...
You should. It's really good.
I will probably reread them as audiobooks. Absolutely. But yeah, just that editing, I don't think it can keep up with this publishing schedule. How many books does she have now This is a fun game I like to play with myself every once in a while. Only for this woman, though. There are some other ones that have ridiculous ones, but Jessie here, get that bag, though. I mean, I feel like this is the only way to make money. Let's see. Okay, so she started in 2001. How many books we got? 17. She has 17 books. In 4 years. 17 books! Oh, and she also did work for Amazon Original Stories. That's about, 4 books a year. This woman needs a vacation.
She does.
See, the one coming out later this year looks to be... Oh, is this a historical? Yeah, her next one's a historical fiction.
Historical fictions are always a good time.
It's coming out November 11th, called Next Time Will Be Our Turn.
Oh, fun.
Gonna always plug her next stuff. But yeah, one question for the author. I'm really curious what stars aligned for her to be like, this needs to have the topic of human trafficking. This is the perfect moment for it. Just if this was always a passion that she's had and she's just like, this is the perfect chance. Did something happen recently? Was she involved with a charity? Did a news story pop up about it? Hear a speech by someone or just anything? I'd really be curious to hear more of her personal thoughts just about this topic. I think that would be really interesting. She seems very, very educated and passionate. So I think it would be a good time. Much learning to had by all. So yeah, I would definitely ask her about that.
I kind of want to know where she got... I know you can research information on trafficking, but the letter sounded so personal. It's almost like it was like she read a bunch of personal stories, and I'd love to know which in particular she looked at and pulled from.
Yeah. Or if she pulled resources from an agency or a charity and they helped her with it.
Yeah.
I didn't look at the acknowledgments. That might have said it. But yeah, I agree. I think that's the most interesting thing. Also, just her creative process in general, I would be fascinated about. She seems really interesting. I need to go learn more about her. Definitely gonna support her however I can. So go read this book. Go buy it. Go borrow it from the library. Whatever. In whatever way you can help do it. Rating. I would give this a serious episode in a sitcom out of 10. You still got the jokes and the laughs and stuff, but then it's like there's a serious issue that you talk about in the middle of it, and then it has a happy resolution in the end. And you're just like, wow, hopefully that was handled really well. I'm glad they talked about that. Because Disney did this all the time for different stuff, Disney and Nickelodeon. So every once in a while, they were just like, this is a serious topic, and we need to talk about the thing in the context of a comedy to better express the thing. So yeah, I think it's handled well in this one. But yes, it's a serious episode in a sitcom out of 10 for me.
I feel like you've had a bad day, but you've come home and there's a really hot, nice meal waiting for you at a 10.
Oh, that is nice. I literally cannot think of anything nicer than just having a meal ready for you. That sounds so nice. It really does end on such a happy note. I think it makes up for the trauma. Read again. Yeah, I'd read this again.
Absolutely.
Favorite of the series so far, though? That's hard. Would you pick the first book or would you pick the second one as a favorite?
I think the first one's my favorite.
I don't know. They're both really good. I gave them both 5 stars. I would feel more comfortable handing out the first one because it has a serious topic, but it's not as serious as this one. But I really like this one. I don't know. That's a really hard question for me. It might be one of those things where I'm like, whichever one I've read the most recent. I do that around a couple of series. So I don't know. Maybe the first one? I don't know. That's a hard question for this series. But I would definitely read both of them again. I enjoy both of them very much. But have you read this book? What serious sitcom episode will you always remember? Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like. And if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering The Savior's Champion by Jenna Marissi. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Lizzie Sawyer.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.